For over a decade, Valve's biggest goal has been bringing Windows games to Linux. And while that goal is almost complete with the massive success of Proton compatibility on the Steam Deck and the upcoming Steam machine, the company has also been secretly pushing to bring Windows games to ARM devices. In an interview with The Verge, the Steam Deck and SteamOS lead Pierre-Loup Griffais, I hope I didn't butcher his name right there, revealed that Valve has been secretly funding FEX, an open source project to bring Windows games to ARM for almost a decade. Now, I talked about FEX in my Steam Frame video, and it's basically a piece of software that allows you to convert x86 instructions to ARM instructions specifically for CPU, or in layman's terms, it allows you to run Windows games on non-Windows devices. Now, I'm going to do some quotes here. In 2016, 2017, there was always an idea we would end up wanting to do that, the SteamOS lead said. And that's when the FEX compatibility layer was started, because we knew there was close to a decade of work needed before it would be robust enough that people could rely on it for their libraries. And we're pretty excited to be able to expand PC gaming to include all these options. Griffais explained that the project pushes to reduce barriers for users not having to worry about what games run on what devices, and basically giving you the ability to run all of your games on any device. Now, with Windows games running on ARM, a large number of Steam games are able to run on a significant number of additional devices, including low-power laptops, tablets, and even phones, hopefully without issue in the near future. Now, while he didn't confirm specific devices that Valve is working on, the SteamOS lead explained that they're excited about creating potential ARM-based devices. He says, "I think that paves the way for a bunch of different, maybe ultra-portables, maybe more powerful laptops being ARM-based and using different offerings in that segment." He also says handhelds, there's a lot of potential for ARM, of course, and one might even see desktop chips as well at some point in the ARM world. But why ARM? He explains that the hardware ARM offers is more efficient at lower power compared to other options. And while the current hardware in the Steam Deck and other handhelds can run at low voltage as low as 3 watts, they're simply less efficient at lower power than hardware designed specifically to run at that spec. There's a lot of price points and power consumption points where ARM-based chipsets are doing a better job of serving the market they set. He continues on to say, when you get into lower power, anything lower than the Steam Deck, I think you'll find that there's an ARM chip that maybe is competitive with the x86 offerings in that segment, much like my Retroid Pocket 4 I've showed previously, or much like your Android phone. We're pretty excited to be able to expand PC gaming to include all those options instead of being arbitrarily restricted to a subset of the market, they continued. So Valve is currently working on an ARM version of SteamOS using the same exact OS components, the same exact Arch Linux base, all the same updater, all the same technologies, he said. So it's essentially going to be SteamOS for pretty much everything, even your smart fridge. When you're looking at SteamOS on ARM, you're really looking at SteamOS as we know it today. Instead of downloading the normal Proton that's built for x86 and targets x86 games, it will also be able to download a Proton that's ARM aware, that has a bulk of its code compiled for ARM, and that can also include the FEX emulator. And Valve is doing all of this to give players a choice. Now, while Windows games are built for Windows, they don't necessarily need to be played on Windows. There's a lot of people already playing Windows games on Android using that same technology through apps like GameHub or GameLight. They rely on that FEX layer. And Valve has already proven how effective this can be, with some games running via Proton performing better due to the lack of Windows bloat. Now, this is all very exciting. Nevertheless, there are some underlying issues. Some games have compatibility problems out of the box, and modern multiplayer games with anti-cheat simply do not work through a translation layer, be it Proton or FEX. So this is something that Valve hopes to change in the future, but in order to change that, they need to prove that people are using SteamOS, and they need to get that massive audience behind it so that companies that develop those anti-cheat solutions will have a reason to try and make them work on Linux and on ARM. This is all fantastic work though, and it gives players a chance to break away from Windows without losing much, if anything, when shifting ecosystems. For decades, Windows has dominated the PC space and likely still will for a long time because people don't use their Windows devices only for gaming. But now there's actually space for alternatives to grow, and Linux has been becoming more and more friendly. We've already seen massive adoption of SteamOS via the Steam Deck, but people are also using Bazzite on their desktops. There's definitely an urge to move away from Windows, at least on the handheld side, and I think Valve is going in the right direction. So to ask a few questions, would you guys install SteamOS on your phone? Perhaps it's not going to be a full OS like Android, but it might be like a gaming mode for Android that will allow you to run Windows games. Would you consider something like a Steam Deck Mini? So less powerful but more power efficient? Do you think there's a market in that? And are you at all excited to actually play Windows-based games on a smaller screen? Because most of these handhelds will not give you the full experience of a desktop, but it seems that Valve is very keen on bringing all your games on all your devices. That's gonna be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribe for more Steam, SteamOS and Steam Deck content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.